Legacy media is falling apart, and as it crumbles, a void is opening, a void that we intend to fill. The big legacy news networks currently average just 1.2 million viewers a weeknight, and those numbers are only going to get lower. Legacy media is dying, and the younger generation has moved on. Legacy media panders. Legacy media lies. Legacy media does not know what the truth is, and they don't care about it. Legacy media is a dumpster fire. This is why we few in our wild imaginations have started the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Our goal is to take down the legacy media giant of the last 50 years with our 5 stones. We started in 2016 with our flagship show, Cross Politic. Since those small beginnings, we now air on DirecTV. Our broader podcast network now gets over 4 million downloads a year. And our Fight Laugh Feast pub, which includes TV shows like This America, The Rowdy Christian's Guide, Pastors in Politics, and As the Lord Pleases, with your support, many more to come. Our goal is to become the flagship new media 2.0 network over the next 50 years and take over nightly news, sports, sitcoms, hunting shows, and more, all conveniently stored for you in our Fight Laugh Feast pub. We're already reaching the next generation through our podcast shows on YouTube, X, and our pub, while also tapping into legacy media audiences by airing our shows on TV through DirecTV and Xfinity. We have made a lot of progress with some duct tape and a good bit of intuition and a lot of sweat. And now we need your support more than ever. The TV networks have had such a negative impact on our households, and we're trying, by the grace of God, to put a stop to that. We have the opportunity. We just need the army. Now more than ever, we need you to join our pub to help us reach our goal of 1 million pub supporters in the next 5 years. There's no way around it. Competing with Fox and the Alphabet networks without money is virtually impossible. It's cheap for you to join. And when you do, you're combining your small monthly support with a growing army of like-minded Christians. We have thousands, we need millions. So if you want more of the Alphabet network's misinformation and lies, don't join. But if you want to give us a mere 5 stones, then please join the pub, and together we will take a swing at the head of big media, all the while fighting, laughing, and feasting to the glory of God. Beer and Psalms, and yes, we're live on Cross Politics.
Also, popcorn.
Yeah, I know.
Beer and Psalms
actually,
and popcorn.
Our studio guests have brought us now coffee and popcorn during our
Yes. And by the way, you guys don't have to be quiet. You guys
you don't have to be quiet.
cheer or whatever you want to do. Yeah.
You guys know Nebraska is in the house.
Yes, it
Nebraska
is.
in the house.
Oh, is that where y'all from? Nebraska?
That's why they're popping us corn.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's
It's
going
one of
on.
their crops.
Yeah, that's right.
Corn huskers. Yeah.
Our friends at Backwards Planning Financial are giving away 1 custom engraved Mont Blanc pen to a loyal Pub TV subscriber at the end of the year. We're drawing 1 name today to be entered into the pot for the grand prize drawing that will occur in December. So like every so often, how often do we do this game? I don't know.
Whenever we read it, that
Whenever. Yeah, that's really helpful. We are drawing a name. So if you're a subscriber, club member,
club subscriber, and right now you can subscribe for $25 off using Waterboy.
Oh, really? And Pastor Toby?
I mean, you could if you use that, but I prefer Waterboy.
Yeah.
Just use Waterboy. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you aren't even going to compete with me? Knox?
No.
You can put in Knox too, but put in Waterboy.
We need a drum roll. The lucky name that has been drawn today is Stephen Callis. Stephen Callis.
You going to say his full name?
It's on there.
No.
I just say whatever's on there.
All right.
They typed it in there. Sorry, Stephen
Well,
Callis.
we just doxed him.
We just doxed you.
If you're one, no, we didn't dox him. There's millions of Stephen Callises in the world.
He's gonna cause like the LGBTQ came and got me, guys.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Anyways, you don't need to do anything just yet.
Just
know that you have been selected. You're one of our loyal club members, which we really appreciate. Thank you, Stephen, for your support. And you are now added to the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Each time we read this ad, however often that is, we're adding, and then one winner at the end of the year here is going to win this
Am I understanding?
fancy pen.
One pen.
It's a fancy pen.
One pen.
It's like a James Bond pen.
I mean,
It could kill you.
Like it's got like nuclear power.
does it
like,
do dishes?
Like smoke or something.
Yeah.
Just
You know
one.
Joe Garrissey, who's the who runs Backward Financial Planning.
Joe, one
him,
pen, Joe.
him and some peeps are down in not Tampa, but what's south of Tampa?
Fort
Ocean.
Lauderdale.
No, that's on the other side of Florida.
Way down south.
It's just an hour or so south of Tampa. Oh my goodness. But they're starting a CREC church there. Trying to start a CREC church down there, so you can actually look up. I think on CREC's website, a potential Bible study or plant happening down there.
Florida. If you're in Florida, check it out.
Yeah.
Are you subscribed to our Cross Politic email list? If you're not, you really should be. Being subscribed to the email list means you won't miss any updates about Cross Politic or the Fight Laugh Feast Network. We hear about what's on the schedule for the week, big interviews that are coming up, live events, conference updates, rowdy Christian merch, updates from our other shows within the Fight Laugh Feast Network, and you'll hear from sponsors of the show as they seek to take dominion for God's kingdom in the business world. To subscribe to the email list, just enter your email address at the bottom of the page at fightlaughfeast.com. Again, it's fightlaughfeast.com.
You know those pens are $300 to $500 a pop, right?
Oh, did you just look it up?
No, my producer
He just texted you?
Just let me know that that's like not a cheap pen.
Joe!
So
Joe!
So you
Well, we knew our boy Joe was not just giving away
3 to 5. I'm just saying,
this is not like a Chuck E. Cheese pen. You know, this is not like one of those things.
But if he really want to show he was a baller, he give away 3.
Knox likes pens.
I'm just saying, you know.
Knox likes anything merch like. Mugs, pens, watch bands.
By the way, if you're local, if you're coming into town for the Fight Life for the Grace Agenda Conference, we're doing a live show on Thursday night, 7 p.m. at the New Art Theater with Indy Wilson and Dusty Devers.
Yeah.
And what's the theme again? What's the title of the show?
Basically, how to think in political chaos during midst of political chaos.
I thought you had a better title.
There is a better title, but that's what I had access to in my mind when I said that.
How to be good.
There's a flyer.
How to not be dumb.
Like Kamala.
And even if you're not if for whatever reason you didn't get signed up for Grace Agenda, the main sessions, you can still come to the live show as long as space is available. So just come early, get your seats. Yeah. We'd love to pack it out.
Grace Agenda is packed this year.
It's packed. Yeah. And there's like NSA starting NSA New St. Andrews College.
This week.
Convocation is on Saturday morning. Of course, there's also a block party Saturday.
It's like 4,000 people at the block party. It's insane.
We block off Main Street.
And it's free food.
Free food. Lots of businesses in town just come out and they cook steak and,
we've ordered
pizzas.
Something like 1,000 cups for ice cream.
Okay.
Only we're gonna be short. We're gonna be short 3,000.
Not everyone gets ice cream. Well, we did like 600 last year or something like that.
Okay, all right. So we're increasing
it every year.
We're
trying to keep up with the ice cream today, but it's all free. Like Cross Politics sponsors the ice cream.
There's gonna be live music,
live
dancing.
Psalm singing.
Chocolate Knox does a dance.
I won't be there actually.
Oh
no! My wife has a birthday, so I love y'all, but I love her more. You know what I'm saying?
You're not gonna bring her down to the block party.
That's fair enough.
You're bringing her to the block party.
Y'all gonna be busy, so it's a perfect time to get away.
I see. He's gonna make me do all the ice cream scoop.
Yes, I is.
So
and then we also have an after party at my house on Friday night at 8:30. Grace Agenda ends about 8 o'clock. So
we could dox you and get your address.
No. You email Anna at crosspolitic.com. Anna at fightlaughfeast.com. Excuse me. Anna at fightlaughfeast.com. Or you can DM me, but we'll ask for your social security number, your name,
credit card
stuff. Yeah,
maybe a kid if they're baptized.
That's true,
guys. Elon and Trump on the X.
So last night, Elon
on the X,
Trump had a conversation on X, and first of all, there was a massive DDoS attack to keep someone.
That was probably completely coincidental.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Well, there's a couple things about that.
It kept it from starting. I couldn't access the conversation for the first. Yeah, go ahead.
What's DDoS?
Basically, is when your servers get everybody flooding it or something flooding it. A bunch of people can say bots or whatever flooding the server so that it's like
overwhelming your servers, making it hard to access.
So most likely not real people.
That's that's.
Remember, guys, we used to get frequent DDoS attacks on our website. You remember that? This was about 3 or 4 years ago.
No.
Yeah, remember our website would go down every month.
Are we like Elon and Trump?
Those were all DDoS attacks, and because our website at that time, the security for our website was if you get too many DDoS attacks or too many, our servers just shut down. That was the protective measure we had because we didn't have any money or whatever, or good technology. And so we moved over to a new server and fixed it all. And I got security for it. So we used to get this frequently on our website.
Elon posted and said, "Hey, look, we tested it beforehand.
8 million people.
Yeah, so we knew we can get 8 million people live. So they were ready for it. So
I was working on my dryer.
Can I say one more thing about this because it's really interesting? I was watching, I think it was CNN talking about this last night, and they were like, "Okay, Elon said the reason they was late was because they had a DDoS attack. That hasn't been verified yet." And it was just hilarious.
It was just like they did when they almost shot, when they tried to shoot Trump.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Verified yet.
We're not sure what happened.
Supposedly, Trump's missing part of his ear.
Trump collapsed. He fell down on stage.
That part hasn't been verified.
We're not sure what happened.
And it's like, wait a second. Anyway, it's amazing how biased that they are. And even though I know that they're biased, it's still amazing to watch them be that kind of biased. It's like, you just did a show for 45 minutes and hardly none of it has been verified yet. And you didn't have a problem with that.
Right.
And so he's actually have reason to be why is late.
So look at all the bias headlines that came out today because of Elon Musk and
USA. What was the Fox News one?
Trump rambles. Trump repeats some old talking points.
Yeah. Where's Fox?
Like watching grumpy old men. Oh my goodness. Immediate tech disaster.
Donald Trump's lisp. Elon Musk interview raises questions. Hold on now. Hold on.
Lisp?
Hold on. Y'all sit here and watch Biden.
I was like,
Y'all sit up here and watch Biden for 3.5 years and said nothing. You don't get to talk at all about this one.
Biden is up there.
No way.
Biden's up there going, where am I? What's going on?
He's going off on the roadside of the stage.
And the headlines are like distinguished elder statesman Biden
goes to shake the hands of the security guards next to him. It's like, wait a second, there was nobody there.
The security guards.
Like, come on, this is what I mean. Like they do this thing, and it's so hard to trust them. Anyway, but I do want to point out. Okay, you got NPR. I don't even know who those people are. Washington Post, The Atlantic, The Guardian. Who is that down there? I can't see that. My eyes aren't that good anymore. Financial Times, The New York Times, CBS News, CNN. Reuters, Hollywood Reporter,
The Guardian,
Newsweek,
all negative headlines.
I mean, this is amazing.
Well,
Reuters,
so
the Independent, USA Today.
So we all know that. I mean,
Trump, wait.
I'm going to verify. I'm going to back you up what you say.
Okay, all right.
A couple months ago, when Trump started talking about dropping taxes on tips, for waiters and waitresses, taxes on tips. CBS. This headline, when Trump started talking about that, I'm going to get rid of taxing on your tips. Right. CBS headline said, former President Donald Trump vows to stop taxing tips would cost the federal government up to $250 billion over 10 years, according to a nonpartisan watchdog group.
I like it.
You promise?
I like it.
You promise?
Can we do it faster?
Kamala Harris last week started talking about removing taxes for tips.
Right.
CBS, same Twitter account, CBS News, tweets out, Vice President Kamala Harris is rolling out a new policy position saying she'll fight to end taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
Oh. Yeah, no
so
bias.
It's such a positive.
No bias.
She gets a positive headline.
Yeah, she's fighting.
And CBS gave Donald Trump, you're going to cost our government $250 billion over 10 years.
Right.
These are the Jacobins, right? They're showing their hands. They're like, we completely oppose the guillotine. You know what? We think that there should be a guillotine.
And we wrote a song about it.
This is democracy, though.
Yep.
Like that, they're not just playing like the favorite games. They're playing democracy game, which is which way is the wind blowing, and we're going to go that way.
Yep.
Right. That's how they feel. That's what they're operating. Which is like, whoa. If you don't have a standard, it's getting dangerous.
But wasn't there? There was discussion about whether or not the White House could actually stop this. Like they like the fact that they were. Even having this conversation is kind of nuts. So you've got this DDoS attack, which is like suspect.
Yeah.
Sus.
Hasn't been verified yet.
As the kids say.
Yeah.
And then you got this guy with the audacity to ask this kind of question at press conference.
Misinformation on Twitter is not just a campaign issue. It's a American issue. What role does the White House or the president have in sort of stopping that, or stopping the spread of that, or sort of intervening in that? Some of that was about campaign misinformation, but it's a wider thing, right?
Yeah, no, and you've heard us talk about this many times from here about the responsibilities that social media platforms have when it comes to misinformation, disinformation. Don't have anything to read out from here about specific ways that we're working on it, but we believe that they have the responsibility. These are private companies, so we're also mindful of that too.
Oh, they're mindful.
But look, it is. I think it is incredibly important to call that out as you're doing. I just don't have any specifics on what we have been doing internally.
It's amazing to me.
How much they pay you, man?
That the press asked that question.
Right. Misinformation, disinformation. Right.
The First Amendment covers the press.
Can we do something about this First Amendment stuff?
Yeah.
Is the White House going to do something about these people just saying whatever they think?
Well, and then the European Commission, I don't even know how you pronounce her name, but Thierry
Jacobin. Jacobin.
Thierry Breton. They sent a formal letter to Elon Musk. I'm not, the whole letter's down there, but sent a formal letter to Elon Musk about him doing a live Twitter space with Donald Trump, threatening. Right. So the European Commission has, I don't know, some sort of laws or regulations or something about misinformation and the spread of misinformation. And because Twitter crosses international bounds, right, they act like they have some sort of authority over Twitter.
Thank God for the internet.
I know.
I was actually thinking, thank God for guns, but that too. Yeah. I was thinking like, thank God for guns. Like, I appreciate, it's amazing when you think about it. You ever notice that guns in a large environment usually makes everything civilized? Everybody's nicer when they have guns. And they don't say stupid stuff like this. You know what I'm saying?
They don't have guns over there.
No. Hey, you can speak your opinion freely, can't you? Yeah, enjoy your time.
Say what you think.
I heard that they, I think, filed some sort of lawsuit today. I haven't confirmed that, but
Who did? EU?
The EC, European Commission.
Okay.
I haven't confirmed that, but I thought I saw something like that. So they're following up
as
on the
there is risk of amplification of potentially harmful content.
Yeah.
That's the European
Commission, EC.
But what is that? What's that symbol?
Content, and I don't know.
In connection with events with major audience around the world, I sent this letter to Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And then he goes on. He's going to talk about
threatening him and misinformation.
Wants him to cancel this interview.
Yep, that was pretty amazing. So that was international.
I'd also like to thank God for Elon Musk
and ammo. Did I say that? I said guns last time. Ammo.
But information is ammo.
That's right. Yeah. I think
the truth is ammo.
Yeah.
And
the reason we have the First Amendment.
Yeah. But it all goes together.
And the second.
Kamala.
The second is like unto it.
But Kamala, the Democrats, and I would say a lot of Republicans, they want this kind of clean world where they can control things.
Yeah.
And they'll work
not
with
really
the
clean
EC,
at all.
And they'll work with the EC, European Commission. Like, they'll all work together on this. Yep. And here's why I think things are why they're so scared. Elon Musk the night after or the night of last night, Elon tweets out between 7:47 p.m. and 10:47 p.m. Eastern time. So that's what, 3 hours?
Yep.
President Donald Trump's space post received 73 million views.
Yeah. 73 million.
How much does the Super Bowl get? They got 100 million views last year. Super Bowl did.
Yeah.
Okay.
This wasn't video. This was just a Twitter phone conversation. That's all it was.
Yeah.
It was audio.
Yeah.
During the same period, there were 4 million posts about Elon and President Trump's conversation on X, generating a total of about 1 billion views. So kind of between the conversations and between the views, you got, we'd probably call them impressions on our side of things, but like about 1 billion impressions.
If I was Tucker, I'd be challenging this because I think Tucker's interview with Trump, didn't it do something like 219 million views or something like that? Just by itself.
Just
so I'd be one. If I was Tucker, I'd be like, y'all look at my numbers.
Yeah.
Just wondering.
Well, but X is not claiming that it's like the most.
No, yeah, I'm just saying, because I think Trump is.
Well, here's how strategic like Twitter is for us. That's why we say we think Elon.
If it hits 1 billion, it will.
Yeah.
If it hits 1 billion, go ahead.
Is because CNN, they get not even 1 million views a night on their news.
Yeah, they average somewhere close to 900,000.
Fox is around 1.8 million a night on news.
They lost a lot of that since Tucker's gone.
Since Tucker left. Yep, that's right.
Tucker is still doing somewhere between 2 and 4 million on his videos on X.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got legacy media is dying in all this.
Yes.
And is not trustworthy. I wish I would pull on the trustworthiness of legacy media. It's probably like Congress level trustworthiness in the polls. And then, but you also have, because legacy media is so addicted to the cable, they've had a hard time transitioning to internet pipelines, to internet cable. And then in addition to that, you have like their voice, like it's just, you know, we played a clip earlier on our, that we'll show tomorrow on just people not trusting CNN. Stephen Colbert's audience laughing about the trustworthiness of season. We can actually just play it right now. Go ahead.
It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes it. I know.
Was that supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess it is.
They both
burn.
They both got I mean, Colbert's audience doesn't even believe CNN's trustworthy.
Everybody was like, "That's a joke." He's like,
and so I've said this before, but there's all these undercurrents, these tectonic shifts happening in media right now that we don't see.
Right.
And in 20 years, it's going to be so different.
But I do think we see it. I think that's. I mean, I think these people are desperate.
Season.
I think people are seeing it. I mean, the fact that people are laughing at that.
Yeah.
When it wasn't supposed to be a joke.
And these are his fans. His audience thinks that's a joke. Like that tells you how far it's gone.
It's a good laugh track.
You have Elon Musk, who's not really a conservative,
right?
Kind of a middle, centrist libertarian. At best, sees it.
Yep.
And when you have notes like this coming from the European Commission trying to shut it down, when you have questioners in the media asking the White House if they can do something to stop this, and this is a bald grasp for power and censorship.
And
we have a lot of guns.
And ammo. Well, I mean, I'm serious though. I think the gun thing should not be overstated. People act different when they know you got a gun and they know that you're willing to use it to protect the people you love.
Yeah. Venezuela knows that.
Yeah, every government. I mean, you got to remember the whole purpose for us having those laws so that the government would know that these aren't the people that we can control a particular type of way. Right?
Like it is a particular defense against tyrannical government.
That was the purpose.
It is not for hunting.
That's right.
Even though that's a side benefit.
Yeah, it's not primarily for defending your own property, although that's another important
depends
side
on who it's
benefit.
from.
Right. But it is actually it lists in the Second Amendment militias.
Yeah.
I mean that's part of the point of it was to defend against another tyrannical government arising, like the British Crown.
Yeah.
Thomas Massey was I just saw this morning, was in this congressional, he's part of this congressional committee.
We just call it a thing.
Committee thing. Yeah, we call it a thing. He's part of this thing at Congress. Whatever.
Behemoth.
Where the Democrats were proposing eliminating citizens' rights to get an AR-15, because they think AR-15 is the worst of all the guns.
Okay.
Thomas also pointed out that this excludes an M1, so citizens can still get an M1, but not an AR-15.
They don't know about it
yet. They're after all of it.
But in that same bill, it said that the Department of Education and Department of Agriculture could maintain and get ARs.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah.
Right.
Follow that.
Yeah. And
I can.
Your English teacher needs an AR, but not you.
I know we're gonna get to a bunch of clips with Trump and Elon.
Trump. Yeah.
I want to get to that, but there's just some overview things that I think are really important to look at with the whole thing.
With the conversation between
Elon Musk and Trump. One of them is that watching the internet erupt over this without going through the traditional forms of communication was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I think, we've taken for granted that Elon Musk has bought X in too many ways. Yeah. One of them is that it shifted the conversation. We just saw the pictures of every major network having to talk about what Elon and Trump are doing and not having direct access to control it.
That's right.
And wanting the access to control it, which means the most important form of in this culture, this economic culture right now that we're in, is communication.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. Words and truth are our weapons.
Attention even is our weapon.
Yeah.
And I think Gary Vaynerchuk has really been on this for years. If you don't know who he is, you need to look him up. He's been on this for a long, long time. He's somebody who I've respected for a long, long time when it comes to the social media game and attention and awareness. But he basically says he has a new book out called Day Trading Attention. Everybody needs to read it. You need to read it.
Day Trading Attention.
Yeah.
That's the culture we
that's
currently live in.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can't put out anything, get any growth, expand, sell anything, grow anything apart from attention. You have to have people's attention to do anything. Elon Musk said people's attention was worth $44 billion.
Yeah.
We as Christians completely undervalue it. And the reason I know we undervalue it because we don't communicate at a consistent basis. You can't get Christians to communicate on social media platforms. What do? We look at TikTok and say, look at all these people over there just dancing. And then think, wait, all these people are over there?
Yeah.
Like the old school versions of us would have said, is that where the people at? I see you have this monument here to this unknown God. Let me tell you about the real God. Is that where everybody is? Is that where the trading square is? Let me go here and start communicating on these platforms to gain the attention for the message that I want people to hear. And what Trump and Elon just did was gain everybody's attention. And that's why they hate them, because now they have a way to communicate to them. And this is a double-edged sword, because now that they've moved the attention this way, the other side is forced to have. Notice what wasn't up on that wall. Conversations about Kamala. She was forgotten about for the last 2 days.
Yeah, right.
That is not good. That is not good. And it doesn't matter what they're writing. It doesn't matter what they're saying. They're only talking about two people.
Trump and Musk.
Trump and Musk. Yep.
And so, but to have that kind of attention is extremely important.
You know, there used to be a time in which the press constantly talked about what was being preached in churches.
That's right. That's right.
Only 100 years ago. Only 100 years ago, what the major churches in the United States, what the sermons were preached, there would be selections and snippets and
put
reports
in the newspaper
in the newspapers of our country.
Yeah.
It was considered like this is what matters.
Yeah,
you need to know what they're talking about.
Have you I'm going to make this point again. So what was the place that Pastor Wilson just went out to? Escondido?
Yeah.
I can't remember the show he was on.
Yeah. Pastor Chris Gordon.
Okay. So
URC pastor.
Right. Pastor Wilson has been communicating at such a high rate that nobody else can keep up with him.
Right.
They can't even keep up with him.
Right.
And to the point where over the years it's accumulated in such a way that Canon Press is expanding. The educational institution expands. NSA is expanding.
Yeah.
Logos is expanding. We exist because of that level of communication.
That's right.
Everything he's done has been based off of communicating and gathering attention. You go back and you look at that YouTube channel shows, and the only show on there that matters is the one with Pastor Wilson. You know why? It has the most numbers. That guy has the most attention he's ever had on his platform because he communicated with Pastor Wilson. And the only reason that he communicated with Pastor Wilson is because Pastor Wilson is the only person who matters in this moment.
Yeah.
Don't miss the narrative.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're talking. Yeah. That's great. Right. But there's a reason for it. Yeah. He can't exist apart from talking to him. And it's the more that Christians are communicating at scale, they have to talk about us. They have to talk about what we're doing.
And it's consistency, quality,
that's right,
and truth.
All of it.
Yeah. All those. So it's not just blather.
Otherwise it doesn't work.
But it's consistent. It's quality. This is why rhetoric matters.
That's right.
The art of speaking well, formulating an argument, logic, reason. This is why this matters. And then the truth. You've got to know how to formulate it. You got to formulate it well. You've got to formulate it in a way that people understand regularly, constantly. But then you also have to have a wealth of knowledge and understanding to actually bring to the table.
Yeah.
You know, I know this is not where the conversation is going to go, but like just thinking about my kids and social media, I was talking to some friends a couple weeks ago, and our kids don't have access to social media, but one of the things I want to be thinking about with my kids is when I do release them and give them access to social media, I want them to be producers, not consumers.
That's right.
I mean, imagine if this is not the age I'm going to let my daughter's 14 now and she doesn't have access, but imagine if all our 14-year-olds had access and were being producers on social media. showing this all thing
with truth, goodness, and beauty.
Imagine,
goodness,
imagine the tidal wave that would come over social media.
Yeah, I think that social media is designed for you to be a producer anyway. That's where it's going. The way you have to engage with.
Yeah, but there's a lot of consumers out there. I mean, Elon talks about this on his Twitter stuff. He's there's so many more people on Twitter than are actually
you got to post.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, but not everywhere else. That's a platform problem for him. I think, but everywhere that social media is going, to TikTok, Instagram, people are posting stuff, and the way that they're designing our hardware is to make it that way. That's why you have a camera. That's why they make it easy to edit. That's why it's going
audio.
It's going that way. The other, there's a few things, and we can jump in this in a second. But the other thing I was thinking about is, why is Trump such an affront to them, to the left? Why does he drive them so crazy? And I was listening to it this morning with my wife, and I had this epiphany. Trump is this feeling for father hunger that we have in society. I was thinking to myself, I was like, what is our society full of more than anything else? Like broken families, messed up families. Oh, it's basically like we're a single mom society. And we don't know men. We haven't been around men in a long time. And Trump is the last bastion of that masculinity, manhood, toughness, machismo that we know. I liken it to, you ever go, I remember being over a friend's house and not having a dad, go over to his house, and his dad would be there. And I remember feeling like I had a certain tight border that I couldn't be careful. I had to be careful because there was an authority here, and I had to operate within that authority.
That's true.
And I was like, "Ooh, I don't know." And he wasn't mean. He wasn't angry. He wasn't anything. He was just there.
Yeah.
And there's a certain culture that has enjoyed a certain type of attitude in an environment where there's no dad.
Mm-hmm.
And when they see somebody come in with some authority, who's going to act like a man, and I'm not saying that he's perfect. I'm just saying he just is the last bastion of that era. This is a threat. The fatherness of Trump, whatever it is a threat to all the single cultured people are out there.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I thought it was striking to me at the beginning of their conversation. Elon says, "I just want to have a conversation,"
and he did. Yeah,
and this is, I think this ties into what you're talking about. In a more traditional, masculine Christian culture, men would just talk.
Yep.
We live in a hyper feminized and effeminate culture where everything is cultivated, everything is uber, like put your makeup on.
Yes.
And like, here's your lines, read it out of the prompter.
Well,
don't go off script.
This is why David French won't come back on our show. This is why a number of people, JD Greer, probably never come on our show. You got a bunch of guys who just aren't masculine enough to come on the show and have a good conversation.
But enough of the stroke. I'm not going to say it.
The Lord
took that one out. The Lord took that one away. That was Jesus.
He's like, be gone.
Owen, you better be happy. That was Jesus.
but I think that's part of what you're talking about is like, to hear a couple of dudes that have accomplished some things in their life. I mean, I think it's both of them. I think Trump is part of this, but Elon is part of this too. Like, he's making space shuttles. He's made these electric cars. He's running these companies. He's bought X.
Yes.
And so there's something about that.
He's not somebody you can control.
No.
Neither one of these guys.
I know. They're men.
Yes, you can't manipulate them, right?
And they're wrong about some things.
Yes,
they're very wrong about some things, but they are men. And I think you're right. There's something about that our culture, our Western civilization is hungry for. Something about that's very attractive.
Yes. And threatening.
And threatening, because we live in a hyper feminized, effeminate world that has been like, we call it the nanny state.
Yes.
For a reason. It's what C.R. Wiley gave a talk in Moscow a number of years ago called toxic matriarchy. It's the mothering instinct gone toxic.
Yes.
There's a good mothering instinct. There's a glory of being a mother. There's a glory of being a woman. But when that glory is turned into a cancer, it's destructive. And I think that's part of what just a couple of like these high power men.
Yes,
sitting on the phone, just talking.
Just having a convo
is a threat.
Okay,
to society.
So I want to get to walking through some of it right now.
That's the potency, though, of men being men.
This is still bearing Psalms. We're gonna get to Psalm 4 here in a minute, but there's some clips from their conversation last night. We're gonna walk through.
Okay.
Here. So first, we're gonna start with kind of Well, let me just say they started off the show actually just talking about
attempted assassination.
Assassination, and Trump was talking about the chart that he used in almost every speech.
Save my life.
And it would come up towards the end of his speech.
Yeah.
And he said, normally it was on my left side, and this time it was on my right side. He's just walking through all the
Usually it's at the end of the speech. This time I just decided to go to it at the beginning.
Yeah, and so I turned to my right, and he's kind of walking through all the details, and he basically said, "Man, it's actually made me believe more in God."
That's what he said. He said, "Yeah, it's a total miracle.
Yeah,
if you don't believe in God, he's like, this has made me
believe in him more, even better, even better,
more God,
even greater.
He's the best God."
and so that's where they started. Of course, we've already talked about that before.
I want to underline it. I mean, Elon says that moment was so inspiring.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Every man felt that.
That's not fatherhood. That's not masculinity.
And that's that. And he noted it. He said that was an instinctive moment.
Yes.
I know you couldn't think about that in that moment. He said, but it was inspiring. We want a leader who is strong.
Yeah.
We want a leader who is brave. We want a leader who will lead and not just cower. Yeah. And when you stood back up and you raised your fist, it was inspiring.
Yeah.
This is why I don't trust the dudes for Kamala. I want. Y'all got estrogen in your system.
But are they dudes?
We don't know.
We don't know.
And so this is why I like the conversation format. It really is a great format for these kind of situations. So,
I liken this to the Lincoln Douglas stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the debates, but this is the new form of conversation where it's like 2 to 3 hour conversation, and people are paying attention.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So this first clip, Elon. Now this is an order of the conversation on their show, on their time together. But this first clip, I just want to get to the inflation point that Elon makes, and this is again having this conversation. Like, you don't have these conversations in these formats anymore.
Nobody's
it's all talking points and moving on.
Yeah.
And to be able to even Elon articulated inflation fairly well in this conversation.
The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening. And we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply. And if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really, we need to have we need to reduce our government spending. And we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say, like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? Right. And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest payments on the national debt have now exceeded the defense budget. It's on the order of $1 trillion.
It's interest,
and it keeps growing.
It's just glorious that they're having this conversation, and that Elon is explaining this in such clear terms. I think he goes on. I don't know if we have the clip, but he goes on to say that inflation is a tax. He says it's a tax on people who save.
Yep, it is.
Because what happens is, over time, the money that you've saved is worse. It's worth less than it was.
Yeah.
It doesn't increase at the same rate if inflation is going up.
What a horrible way to rob from the elderly too.
Oh, it's horrible.
Particularly
fixed income, poor, all that stuff. So it is also important that he connected inflation to government spending,
right?
Because the government is not a producer,
right?
It doesn't produce products,
goods or services.
It doesn't produce innovation.
It's not supposed to,
right?
And innovation is wealth. Correct innovation is wealth. And so what happens is, when the government spends, they aren't producing any more new forms of goods and services.
Right. So they're just putting money in.
Yep. Well, the same,
but there's no goods and services tied to the value.
Yep, that's right.
Which means that everything else is the value is going down.
And so the thing that I think he kind of highlighted, but I want to highlight here, is that it's not just inflation's not just more dollars and less goods and services. That's what's happening, and that's the problem. But the problem is that the value of that dollar is getting diluted.
Right.
That's the problem. That's what inflation is. So it's not just more dollars versus goods and services.
But it is that, though.
Yeah, right. But defining that, it's diluting the dollar.
Right. Because if you have $1 for a widget, but now if it's $2 and you still only have one widget, well, now it just reduced its value by 50%.
Yeah.
I think there's another side of this. I appreciated his 2 points of how to fix it. Right. Which one was, hey, we got to
reduce government spending.
Reduce government spending. Yeah. Also, he talks about it later too, as well, which is human flourishing is kind of important. Innovation.
Kind of.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Yeah. But the value of things that are made add to the growth of your economy, which can offset that. Right. Because part of me is thinking, knowing, especially when you talk to David Bahnsen about this, Trump spending, Biden spending, nobody was like, "Ooh, we really saved a lot of money." And
I would have liked Elon to ask about Trump spending.
Well, and
Trump tried to say that they were about to cut.
Yes. Yeah.
And then COVID happened. That was what he said.
But what else were they going to spend? Yeah. That's my question. But one of the things that he says in there was, let's have this area of the government that checks its own budgets.
Yeah.
I don't want more bureaucracy.
He wanted a government efficiency commission. I was like, no.
No. Actually, that's what Congress is.
It's true.
That's supposed to be Congress.
Yeah. Congress, the House, particularly the House.
Particularly the House.
The budget originates out of the House.
According to the Constitution, the Budget Efficiency Committee is the House.
This is what I'm talking about. It's all broken.
I know.
Yeah. So, but my point in saying that is, if that's the case, let's say that we don't do anything else. Like we don't spend any more money. We don't take any more money out or cut our budgets. Let's just say we keep it exactly like it is.
Okay.
The only way we get out of this, because I think that's the reality of the situation. I don't expect to see America cut its budgets. I just don't. But I think there's plenty of innovation left in this world that if we can remove the regulations that are around innovation,
100%.
we would not have to do anything here, and we can actually fix inflation through the innovation.
Right.
Innovation.
Yeah, and that's been a lot of Bahnsen's point.
I think he's got a good point.
Let's work harder. Let's produce more. And if you are hustling,
yes,
then those goods and services in some way catch up to the overspending.
This is why, like, if you can get stalemates here, right? I think it's a reality to get stalemates.
Then you can cut the inflation.
Exactly, through innovation. But you got to get stalemates, and you got to get...
I really appreciate how Elon mentioned all the frivolous regulations and the need to cut regulations as well.
And he's a guy who's got billions of dollars.
So here's this conversation on legal immigration.
Would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but we also need to shut down illegal immigration and especially unvetted illegal immigration, because that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately represent your position?
I say it very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible.
So he wants legal immigration, and is clear. He spent a lot of time on, and this is maybe a minor difference, I'm not sure, between Elon and Trump, but Elon says there, I think most illegals are probably good people, not necessarily bad people. Trump says, I don't know. Actually, there's a lot of criminals coming in, a lot of terrorists coming in. A lot of these foreign countries are emptying their prisons and sending people here.
They talk about that.
I tend to agree with Trump.
Yeah,
I tend to agree with Trump, and not because of I know what Elon means, but illegal immigrant already tells me something. Right. That we have, there's a standard and way we do this, and they've already said that we don't care about it. Right.
You remember in the conversation, they I don't know if it's part of the thread, but in the conversation, Elon talked about how he went down to the border himself.
Yeah, he did say that.
He went down there
and he saw people just streaming over.
He said most of the illegal immigration that you see coming across the border is not from Mexico.
That's right.
He said, quote, it's from the world.
That's the next clip, actually.
Yeah, is it?
Yep.
Everywhere. They're coming in from everywhere. And I had to stay in Mexico.
Yeah, I think this is a super important point. Like people, it's like, basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico.
No, Mexico less.
It's just the border. It's just the border with Mexico, but the people coming in, it's Earth. the rest of Earth. and America is only, about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything.
We're already overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed.
Wow. It's Earth.
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah, I don't think he's wrong about that.
No, I don't think so either. I absolutely think he's right. And it's we're being overwhelmed, and you can't have cohesion as a nation any more than you can have a cohesion as a family. If your doors are wide open day and night, and people are just pouring into your house, day and night. At some point, Christians will try to guilt trip you and be like, "But you're supposed to be given."
That's where I was about to go.
You're supposed to be given to hospitality.
Yeah, but
that's not hospitality.
Well, no, and I don't think that the immigration issue really hits most evangelicals as it should.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe we need to have a new way of talking about this.
Okay.
Because when these people are doing or not, people they're streaming over here. It's like, oh, that's just cruel. What if they need help?
Yeah.
They're streaming over here with their false gods coming to plant them in your land. Do you understand?
Yeah.
They're here to bring idolatry. They're bringing their own ethics. They're bringing their own worldview, and they're bringing it to overtake this land. That's a curse. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Evangelicals.
Do you think evangelical Christians would buy that?
No, but they need to think about that a lot because they don't get it at all on the immigration side.
But when you say that, I think a lot of Christians think, oh, but that's the Handmaid's Tale. So you want to do Christian?
You know what,
Sharia
Pastor?
law?
Well, here's the deal. You're going to get somebody's law because you look over there at Dearborn, Michigan. How's that working out for you? You look. I mean, the standards of
what's that big church in New York that just sold to a mosque?
Like $250,000. Actually, it's 20. Yeah, for only $250,000. That was in 2022, I believe.
Oh, it's a couple of years ago.
About a year.
So it already is a mosque.
Maybe it's 2023.
I think there are some Christians that won't get it.
Yeah.
But I think the ones that I'm thinking about that will get it, because those guys wouldn't get it anyway. But the other Christians that I think will get it are kind of like that. They're signaling is like, oh, it's okay. We can figure it out. We'll be fine. It's like, no, you don't understand. You are under judgment.
Yeah.
You are under judgment. And that coming in is going to it's not just that they're taking jobs and all this. That's part of it. It's that they're coming to bring a whole new reality. They're bringing the first table of the law to your land.
Yeah. That's right.
They're bringing the first table of law to your land. And I'm telling you, the second table ain't going to be as kind as you think it is.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah,
right?
Because the second is like unto it.
I love that narrative. That's so good.
It goes together.
It
goes together. You can't have the second table of the law. So what we're talking about is honor your father and mother through thou shalt not covet.
Yep.
You can't have that without the first table.
Yeah.
You can't have no other gods before me.
Do not take the name of the Lord thy God.
Yeah, and graven images and breaking the Sabbath. You can't reject those things and somehow magically pull out of a magician's hat people who don't steal and don't kill and don't commit adultery. It goes together.
And that's right. And the part of what I'm trying to get some of my evangelical brothers to understand is they don't have a gospel capable enough to deal with the situation.
Right. Yeah.
And they like, oh, but we do. It's like, no. You don't have an ethic of how you're supposed to live in society.
Yeah.
You don't have a standard for them to follow.
Right.
So you're screwed.
Right. Well, and many of them are insisting on no, we want those Christian values.
Right.
But we don't want to talk about which God gave them.
Yeah.
We want the Christian values, but we don't want to talk where privately, of course, we get them on Sunday or we get them from our Bible, but that's our private religion. And we don't want to talk about where we got this standard.
Gabe, who is it that's doing the research on theonomy in Moscow, and who's supposed to be doing?
So
there's
a committee that's being put together in the Southern Presbytery in Texas.
No, it's an overture.
It's an overture. Well, I think a committee.
No, it's an overture for a committee to be formed.
I don't know the difference.
Okay, yeah. So they want to form a committee.
Presbyterians really like words like overture.
You know what?
And they want to put a committee on that would study the Moscow mood, theonomy, and Reconstructionism.
Stop wasting your time.
Christian nationalism.
Stop wasting your time.
Yeah.
Stop wasting your time. You're wasting your time. You're in Texas. You should know the problems that you have.
The overture is coming from Texas.
Why don't you put together what does the Bible say about immigration, biblical law, borders?
Coming out of Houston.
J.D. Greer thinks it's a ...
What were you? Yeah.
You're not kidding. You're not. I'm not. No. This is Houston.
That's right.
Like this.
And so they want to spend. What do we think about the? you don't have an answer to the problems that are facing the people where you are right now, and you're spending your time trying to figure out
Moscow
theology.
So I invite, and I will honor this. Any PCA teaching elder or ruling elder that wants to come to our Fight Laugh Feast conference, I'll comp your ticket. Oh no, comp your family's tickets.
Any
reach out to
PCA
me.
elder?
Any
That's
PCA
a lot
elder.
of elders.
Welcome them all.
Wait, are we just talking those from just that overture?
I will raise scholarship funding to pay for their tickets.
Wait, are you saying all PCA elders?
All PCA elders, ruling elders, and teaching elders.
Whoa.
So I'll get scholarship. I'll get scholarship for it. It'll be on me.
We ain't gonna make no money this conference.
this is our business model. This
is kind of turned into illegal immigration. We're going to be flooded by PCA elders.
We already got like 25
hey, you know what,
denominations represented in our conference.
It might be worth it.
So just reach out to my assistant at fightlaughfeast.com for that. We'd love to have you there because Prodigal America is going to address a lot of this.
But I think but that's the reality of the situation. Like we're not even, our heads aren't even in the game.
We're Pharisees. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I say that with like, I don't mean that like as ugly. I just think like we are a Pharisaical people.
Show us a sign.
We strain out gnats and we swallow camels. we want to fight over tithing our spice rack.
Yeah.
While we are neglecting the weightier matters of the law, like justice and mercy and truth.
Yeah.
Getting overrun.
I mean, this is what Pharisees do.
Illegal immigration is a matter of justice.
Yeah. And Pharisees,
it's a love your neighbor issue.
But you know what though? You can probably put all the theonomists in this room. Right? But what's been amazing?
This is a small room.
I know.
This is small room.
I know.
Really.
I know. But what's amazing is that they have been doing something over the last few years that how many people has written prolifically on ethics and law like Rush Dooney over the last 30 years?
Right.
Like Doug and Perma on Justice, right? Like Gary North, whose ethic books got the line going through the Old Testament, like Greg Bonson, right? And they've been communicating so much that
David
a
Bonson
small
just told me that Greg Bonson, Lig Duncan fired Greg Bonson.
It makes sense. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Makes
Funny.
sense. Okay, and he's been teaching ethics for 30 years. He's never seen it. But I'm just saying though, but they've been communicating in such a way that they've had impact because they're communicating so well.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's so much.
We got to get to beer and sauce. It's my daughter's birthday.
You got a birthday party.
Yeah, I got a birthday
party. All right. Today's you gonna pour me a little bit of that?
I thought you were gonna read it. But
yeah. Psalm 4. This is a to the chief musician, a song on the strings, a psalm of David. Hear me when I call, O God, of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me. Hear my prayer. O ye sons of men, how long will you turn my glory into shame? How long will you love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah. But know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call unto him. Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Selah. Offer the sacrifices of righteousness. Put your trust in the Lord. There be many that say, who will show us any good? Lord, lift thou up the light of thy countenance upon us. Thou hast put gladness in my heart, more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Like many psalms, this is a wonderful prayer and a hymn for times of trouble. So it's a hymn and a psalm for our day. It's a cry to God for justice and righteousness, remembering that God has heard these kinds of prayers many times. This is why it's important to register when God answers prayer. You should write it down. You should make a note of it to your family, like God answered prayer.
Amen.
You should remember that, because when you have times of trouble and you cry out to him, part of the faith that you have to cry out to him is in the fact that you know he's heard you in the past. This prayer is against those who seek to shame and lie about God's people, and David in particular. And David says he knows that God knows who his godly people are, and he listens to them when they pray. God knows. So there's lies coming at you. You're a bigot, you're a hater, you're a fascist, you're an extremist, whatever. And David says, but God knows who his people are. It's in this context that the prayer says, while you are in this troubled, even angry state, do not sin. My old King James translation says, stand in awe. Literally, the word could be translate, be angry and do not sin. It says, while you're reeling, is the Hebrew word. In other Psalms, it talks about hills shaking at the presence of God. It's that word. So when you're shaking, when you're troubled, when you're angry, do not sin. Meditate in your heart, on your bed, and be quiet. That's what it says. Meditate in your heart, on your bed, and be quiet. Don't be rash. Don't lash out. Instead, it says, offer obedient sacrifices, righteous sacrifices. What does that mean? It means do the things you know you're supposed to do. When there's trouble all around, do the things you know you're supposed to do. Worship God on the Lord's Day. Love your wife. Respect your husband. Go to work and work hard as unto the Lord. Tell the truth, all the truth. Don't cut any of the corners. Confess your sins, all your sins. Get completely clean. Forgive those who have sinned against you. And you say, but what if they don't ask for my forgiveness? Then have forgiveness ready for them in your heart. Love your children. Teach them. Teach them to love the Lord. Honor your parents. Yes, even the difficult ones. Honor them and trust in the Lord. Those are your sacrifices. When everything's troubled, do the things you know to do. And while you do that, many will say that you're not really making much of a difference, right? Maybe you're just playing a tune while Rome burns. What good is it doing when evil men continue to oppress and pillage us? It's in that place that we ask the Lord to bless us. We do the things He's told us to do, and we ask Him,
That's right.
Lord, bless this. Lord, make this potent, make this powerful. Bless our labors, bless our families, bless our communities, and deliver us. And so the psalm then closes rejoicing in the goodness of God and the joy that He gives. And it says that His joy is better than a festive Thanksgiving table. His joy is is even better than freshly baked bread and the finest wines on the table. It's better than that. These festive tables that God gives us are true gifts. Just think about, your Christmas feast, your Easter feast, last time you got together as a family reunion. It's a true gift, but it always points us to the fullest joy, the greatest joy, resting in the goodness of God. And so it is that in the midst of trouble, in the midst of naysayers and lies and slander and oppression, in the midst of things that rile you up and shake you, God's people can pour out their hearts to the Lord and then lie down and go to sleep because God alone makes us dwell in safety. We live in a world with plenty of trouble, plenty of reasons to cry out to God, whether public reasons or private reasons, plenty of reason for anger, plenty of reason for feeling like our world is reeling. And there's plenty of, but at the same time, there's plenty of obedience for us. We need to offer obedient sacrifices, but these obedient sacrifices flow from peace with God. And so this is a psalm for our moment. In your anger, do not sin.
That's right.
In your trouble, do not sin. In your reeling, do not sin. Meditate in your heart, on your bed, and be quiet. The wrath of man does not accomplish the righteousness of God, and we need the righteousness of God. So where are you looking for righteousness, for justice, for deliverance? We have work to do, but we need our eyes fixed on the God of our righteousness. Then we can perform our duties each day and fall fast asleep at night, because only God makes us dwell in safety, and this fills our hearts with joy. Psalm 4. Cheers. Where's my
cheers? To the king.
Cheers to the king.
That was good, Pastor.
Yeah. And cheers to Trump and Elon.
Hey, I'll take that. If you're single, get married. If you're married, have you some kids. And if you have kids, go baptize them. Until tomorrow, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Love your neighbor as yourself. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politic.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like.
rather than my skills,
I want to be judged
By my political beliefs, I want to get promoted.
based on my chromosomes,
when I grow up.
I want to be offended
By my coworkers,
and walk around the office
on eggshells.
And have my words policed.
By HR, words like
Grandfather.
peanut gallery,
Long time no see.
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long.
When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder.
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist.
I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
You sit in church week after week, embracing the truth of God's word. You believe the gospel and claim Jesus Christ as your Lord. Yet you continue to struggle with pornography. You feel like a hypocrite, returning to the sin you hate that mocks the God you love. You desperately wonder, is lasting freedom even possible? Yes, you can overcome pornography, but not alone. 2 Timothy 2:22 says, "Now flee from youthful lusts and pursue righteousness, faith, love, and peace with those who call on the Lord from a pure heart." Only by repeatedly running from sin to Christ with other believers can you hope to enjoy lasting freedom. You can live with purity and integrity. Take courage, seek accountability, and do whatever is necessary. Get equipped at accountable2you.com.